Welcome to Exam Bites. Let's see today's editorial from The Hindu. An act cementing digital authoritarianism. A disturbing argument for unwavering control over every Indian's life. You may say you want to be forgotten, but the state does not want to forget you, was decisively rejected 6 years ago in August 2017 by the Supreme Court of India in the landmark Puttaswamy decision. This ruling upheld the fundamental right to privacy while directing the union government to introduce a data protection law in Parliament, in accordance with the judgment. Fast forward to 2023, and we have the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, 2023, commonly known as the Data Act. Despite its name, the Act's provisions have raised significant concerns among experts. Amrita Johri and Anjali Bhardwaj, associated with the National Campaign for People's Right to Information and the Satark Nagrik Sangathan, argue that these provisions undermine transparency and accountability. Similarly, Professor Subhasis Banerjee, a computer science and engineering professor at IIT Delhi, states that the Act favors data collection and processing by the government and private entities rather than genuine data protection. This new law warrants scrutiny. Why did the Data Act take this shape? The answer lies in the quest for absolute state control, a digital tether designed to subjugate citizens and prioritize obedience over upholding the ideals enshrined in the Constitution of India. After launching the Digital India Initiative in July 2015, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during a visit to Silicon Valley in September 2015, declared that technology is advancing citizen empowerment and democracy. This proclamation reflects a misguided belief in technological solutions as panaceas and suggests that the digital revolution will miraculously address all issues, sidelining the essence of a transformative constitution. This perspective necessitates the relentless expansion of state power, a result of the unholy alliance between surveillance capitalism and surveillance welfare. This convergence is evident in digital public goods developed using state resources and individual citizens' personal data. However, these deployments often fall short of their promises, tighten the digital leash, and generate new challenges. Take the case of Arijaya Setu, the contact tracing app. According to MIT Technology Review's COVID tracing tracker, India is the sole democracy to mandate the use of such an app. Initial lack of transparency in privacy policies and terms of service raised concerns, only rectified after public outcry. Similar issues emerged with the online vaccination platform CoWIN. The question for Indians to contemplate is whether they used Arijaya Setu as a reliable tool to avoid infection or merely as a prerequisite for travel and building entry. The government's view of data protection appears to be at odds with its digital ambitions, an inherent flaw in its design. Consider the Smart Cities mission, demanding an integrated command and control center to gather real-time resident data for centralized databases. This project, marred by delays, exemplifies how state initiatives can inadvertently compromise citizen privacy and yield counterproductive results. The Data Act has implications for mass surveillance that transcend camouflage. Examples include the 2018 tender for a social media communications hub aiming to monitor citizens' online activities for fostering nationalistic feelings, and the tender in 2019 for building the world's largest national automated facial recognition system. These projects exploit exceptions under the Data Act, instead of prioritizing citizen protection. The Act's stipulation that citizens not suppress any material information while providing personal data places undue burdens on marginalized groups. Vulnerable minorities could be subjected to fines for incomplete or incorrect information given in the interest of their safety. Government rhetoric portrays the Data Act as a new social contract for participation in the digital society, asking citizens to entrust their privacy to the state. Given the Act's vague nature, it appeals more to partisan loyalty than a commitment to constitutional rights. The hope that experience will refine the Act is flawed, overlooking the erosion of democratic principles in a digital India. Recent legislation fosters authoritarian databases, containing intimate details of citizens and their families. The Criminal Procedure Identification Act, 2022, creates unnecessary databases that infringe on fundamental rights. The Registration of Births and Deaths Amendment Act, 2023, creates a national database linked with Aadhaar, extending data sharing from birth to death. This trend indicates that the Data Act is a destination for total state control, reflecting a larger narrative of state dominance. While state control extends to smartphones, private sector involvement is integral. The financial objective is for the digital sector to contribute to India's ambitious $5 trillion economy target by 2030, potentially through the government's sale of citizens' data. The portrayal of the Data Act as light-touch regulation is misleading. It grants broad ministerial discretion. The union government can exempt companies from compliance or file complaints against them to a Data Protection Board of India it establishes. This approach, inspired by China's national intelligence law, leaves private companies vying for favor in India's digital market. This trajectory mirrors a centralized state command where concentration of power facilitates control. However, this aligns with shrinking economic freedom as evidenced by global rankings. Where does this leave Indian citizens? Justice D.Y. Chandrachud's words in his dissenting judgment in the Aadhaar case resonate, cautioning against a society entangled in biometric data. The invisible threads of a society networked on biometric data had grave portents for the future. Unfortunately, this warning materialized with the Data Act. Piecemeal amendments and isolated rulemaking won't alleviate state coercion, as this law merely signifies deeper civic decay. India necessitates a comprehensive constitutional overhaul to counter digital authoritarianism.